Good morning everyone, today we're going to be talking about add-on skills because there are a lot of different add-on skills. There's actually 10 main stat add-on skills and 30 sub-stat add-on skills. So, things get a little bit more complicated as you factor in everything together. But before we jump into all of that, if you're new to the channel, I upload NGS content daily. So if you do play this game, I would really appreciate a subscribe as it really helps out the channel. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin the video. So the very first thing I want to talk about are, of course, the main add-on skills. So in order to see all of them, you're simply going to go to personal over here, character information, and add-on skills info. And you can see right here the main effect. There are a total of 10 main effects, one for every single class. So I'm just going to go down the list of all the main effects really quickly and then talk about which ones I would focus on first. So first of all, we've got melee weapon potency, so that increases your melee potency up to 5%. Then you've got critical hit potency up, which increases your critical damage. Your range potency up increases range potency. You've got offensive photon blast gauge accumulation up, so this simply makes your photon blast recharge faster while you are hitting things or while you're attacking. Then you've got technique weapon potency up, simply 5% more potency for technique skills. Natural PB gauge accumulation up, this is the natural recovery of your photon blast, so when you're just standing around not attacking anything. You've got critical hit rate up, this is your critical chance. You've got dash and glide PP recovery, this will affect your photon power recovery rate while you're moving. Then we've also got PP up, simply just increases your photon power, and then you've got down critical hit rate up. This is when you down an enemy or when you break an enemy, you get an increase in critical chance, which is also pretty nice. So that covers all of the main stats, and each of these main effects are actually tied to a specific class. So as you can see, the hunter has the melee weapon potency, so forth and so on. So with all of that being said, which one should you be focusing first? At the very beginning, I highly recommend everyone to just invest into all of the skills so that you unlock it to a certain degree. Level 10, level 15, level 1, it doesn't matter as long as you've unlocked it, especially certain skills such as dash and glide PP recovery. By default, when you are running around the map, when you're dashing and when you're gliding, you do not get PP recovery. Your photon power just pauses. It does not recover naturally. So by making sure that you get at least 1 point in dash and glide PP recovery, at the very least, you're going to be able to recover some photon power while you're dashing around, while you're gliding around. Especially in more endgame content such as Darkfall Solace, this is a necessity because you're constantly repositioning, you're constantly running out of danger zones, and so you're going to need this extra PP recovery or this natural PP recovery while you're dashing and gliding. Not only that, this also helps a lot in LaCL exploration because you're constantly moving to all the different quadrants, and not being able to recover your photon power while you're moving is kind of a big deal. However, at the end of the day, you don't want to waste your end master cubes because of how difficult they are to obtain. So this means you can only pick one skill to get to level 20 instantaneously with your 5 end master cubes. So which skill should you be focusing on? It really depends on your gear right now and what you plan to do in the future. So if you only care about instant power right now, then I would focus on the critical hit potency up, which increases your critical damage by 10% at level 20. And the reason for this is because it's very likely that you are using a Veshmel weapon right now, where if we look at the weapon potential, it gives you critical hit rate plus 100% already. So that's 100% crit rate all the time. So by increasing your critical damage by 10%, that is just a straight up 10% DPS increase. It is very, very powerful. However, if you want to plan for the future, you might want to go with the potency up, because potency up is going to scale regardless of what weapon you're going to be using later down the line. So for example, in my case, I tend to use melee weapons very often, so having melee potency up plus 5% is just a 5% DPS increase across the board for all the melee weapons that I use. Now of course, increasing your potency isn't the only choice. Another stat you can also look at is critical hit rate up. However, just keep in mind that if you do get this to level 20, it's not going to be useful at all right now if you are using a Veshmel weapon. However, let's say that you're using a seasonal weapon, or let's say that you're using a Tisho weapon, then yes, this critical hit rate up is going to be very, very nice because it does increase your crit rate by 10%, which is nothing to sneeze at. However, if you don't care about damage and damage is not your main priority and you only care about quality of life, then I highly recommend Dash and Glide Photon Power Recovery. This is really nice to have, especially if you can get it to level 20 or even just like level 18 or above. Having this extra PP natural recovery while you're dashing around, while you're running around, while you're doing like combat zones, exploration zones, this will transfer to any content that you do, which is very nice. You might be defeating tames for meat, you might be going through exploration zones, Lucille Exploration, Darkfall Solace. This add-on skill over here is not obtainable through any other means. You can only get it through the add-on skills. There's no equipment or skills that can actually give you PP recovery while you are dashing and gliding, versus all of the other stats over here. If you want more potency, you can get that through augments, you can get that through gear. You want to increase your crit damage, you can get that through fixes. You want to increase your crit rate, you can get that through weapon potentials. There are plenty of ways to get everything else. However, dash and glide PP recovery, the only way to get this is through the add-on skills. And so if you care about utility and you put utility over damage, then this is the one that I would definitely go for. At the very least, I would aim for like level 18 or above is definitely the sweet spot. However, if you can get it to level 20, it gives you 100% of your PP natural recovery, which means you're going to be recovering your photon power at the same speed as if you just stand still. And there are ways to increase your PP natural recovery, so you can definitely do that in order to gain even more recovery while you're moving around. Because remember, the majority of our damage is based off photon arts as well as techniques, which do require photon power to cast. So the more photon power you have, the more regeneration you have, the more damage you're going to be able to output. And so this is one stat that I definitely would not sleep on because it is incredibly valuable and it's a really nice quality of life thing to have. But with that being said, let us look at the substats. So the first class we're going to look at is the Hunter, because remember, every single class has different substats. As we can see over here, the Hunter has PA charge movement speed up, HP recovery while joining a trial, burn resistance up, as well as HP up. Every single class is going to have HP up. At the max level, level 20, it increases your maximum HP by 20. And remember, we have 10 classes. So if you manage to get max HP plus 20 on every class over here, that is a 200 HP increase just from add-on skills alone. It is quite a big deal. So HP up is definitely one of the substats that I put a lot of value in, simply because the more HP you have, the more tankier you are, and you know, it's just survivability, and it allows you to play a little bit more sloppy, which is really nice in my personal opinion, because I tend to make a lot of mistakes while I play this game. So HP up is my #1 priority. And then for the Hunter class specifically, PA charge movement speed up is really nice to have. So this is basically when you hold down the button in order to charge a photon art. There's usually a movement speed penalty of like 50%, but this is going to negate some of it and make the penalty to like 25% or something. So you tend to move a lot faster. It's really nice, especially if you play the Hunter or even the Force class. Next up is the Fighter. Again, your #1 priority is HP up, and then jump power up is also pretty nice. This allows you to deal damage when you double jump into an enemy. It's it's a really cool thing. It's base PSO2 type of thing, but nevertheless, you know, it just allows you to do a little bit more damage as you kind of do like a Mario jump on the enemy, and it does a little bit of damage. Next up is the Ranger. Again, you want HP up as well as Photon Blast potency up. This is actually going to increase the damage of your Photon Blast because it's just straight up potency. It's also really nice. Next up is the Gunner. Again, HP up as well as offensive PP recovery up. So this simply gives you more photon power whenever you attack an enemy. This is extremely valuable because that means that you get photon power faster, and that way you can spam more photon arts as well as techniques. Next up is the Force, and again, you want HP up and natural PP recovery up. This is extremely useful. I believe you can get up to 10% increase in natural PP recovery. So this is actually going to increase your natural PP recovery, and this double dips with your bouncer add-on skill, the one where when you dash and when you glide, you get PP recovery. So by having natural PP recovery up, this will directly influence how quick your photon power regenerates while you're just running around and moving around. It's very valuable. Next up is the Techer. We have HP up as usual and damage resistance up. This is also very nice. It's just straight up damage resistance. You just become tankier. You take less damage across the board. Really nice add-on skill to have. Next up is the Braver, again HP up, as well as Rest Assign heal amount up. This is actually going to increase the amount of healing whenever you use a Rest Assign or the green flowers. This is actually really useful, especially if you are building a more tankier build, because it can actually full heal you if you have like 1,200, 1,300 HP. It's actually pretty crazy. Next up is the Bouncer. Again, you want HP up, as well as Encore Jump. So what Encore Jump does is it allows you to jump an extra time. So it's not going to be like, oh, you can just triple jump in the midair, no problem. It has very specific requirements for Encore Jump. You actually need to jump into an enemy, jump off the enemy, and then you can Encore Jump. So it's really weird on why it's worded that way, but nevertheless, it just lets you jump technically 3 times, which is pretty cool. Next up is the Waker. Again, you want HP up, but this is actually really useful. It's stationary HP recovery. So by default, you do not recover HP when you just stand still. However, with stationary HP recovery, you will be able to replenish your HP simply by standing still without using any healing items. It's really nice to have, especially in Geometric Labyrinth, where you are limited in the amount of healing items that you have. Being able to heal naturally by standing still is actually pretty nice to have, and it's pretty awesome. But do keep in mind that this does heal awfully slow. I believe it's like every 10 seconds that you stand still, it heals a little bit, heals like 80 HP or something along those lines. So just understand that this isn't like super broken. It's not going to be like, oh yeah, you can full heal by standing still for 5 seconds or something. It's not that broken. It's actually pretty slow, but nevertheless, it is still something nice to have. And last but not least is, of course, the Slayer. Again, you want HP up, as well as reduced Photon Blast cooldown. This is really nice to have, because then you can Photon Blast more often and deal those big juicy numbers. But now to answer the most frequently asked question, and that is, are the main effects and sub effects always active regardless of what class I play? So as you can see right now, I'm playing Braver main class and Force subclass. So many people would assume that, oh, you only get the Braver main effect as well as sub effect, as well as the Force main effect and sub effect. This is false. This is not correct. You get all of the skills. They are always active regardless of what class you're playing. And this is the value of add-on skills. This is why add-on skills is worth so much, and why people like Spook invest hundreds of millions of Meseta into their add-on skills to make sure they max out everything. It's because they are active all the time regardless of what class you're playing. So let's say that, you know, my Braver is level 80 and I decide to switch over to my fighter that is like level 1. Well, it doesn't matter. My level 1 fighter is going to be able to take advantage of all of these add-on skills. And what's better yet is these add-on skills are account bound. So if we look over here, I'm actually going to log off. I'm going to go to my ship selection. I'm going to log on to my ship 3 character. And over here, you can see that my ship 3 character is only level 70. It's a level 70 Braver because I haven't played it in a really long time, but we're going to log into it. And you can see over here, when I go to personal, character information, and add-on skills, it carries over to my ship 3 character as well, all of my add-on skills. So this is why add-on skills are so incredibly powerful. It's because they apply to all your characters across all the different ships. It's account bound. So yeah, this is why a lot of people put so much value onto this, and this is why the End Master Cubes are so sought out and so freaking expensive in the treasure shop. It's because once you get any of these to level 20, this 10% crit rate, it carries across all of my characters, even future characters that I create later down the line. So it's super powerful, and it's just incredible, especially the dash and glide PP recovery. This is so good. A lot of people sleep on this one, but when you have 100% natural PP recovery, it makes so many boss fights so much easier, and just makes PSE farming, Lucille exploration, makes everything like infinitely better and infinitely more smooth and enjoyable. Special thanks to all the members for supporting the channel. It really means a lot to me. Thank you again. But yeah, that's all I wanted to cover in today's video. Hopefully you guys found it helpful. If you did, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye!